Hey everybody, and welcome to Getting Down with Dave Jones. I'm Dave Jones here, and man, I got some friends here.
TKO, Josh Turner.
TD, Schizo Hurt.
All right, you guys are obviously wrestlers.
Yes,
So,
yes.
Tell me a little bit. We got a lot of stuff we're going to get into today because you guys are not just wrestlers. You're actually movie makers, filmmakers, and
A little bit of everything.
a little bit of everything. Extraordinary guys there. So first, let's talk about a little bit of wrestling and your background in
All right.
that.
Well, me, I've been going for about a little over 8 years, and I got my start down in Louisville, Kentucky, and had a pretty good time. Wrestled all throughout the United States, anywhere from Tennessee all the way out to Washington, Portland, Oregon. Here recently, though, what this is the Independent World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship, and it declares you the best in the world. And when it comes to indie wrestling, I actually recently won this thing and have become the independent wrestling champion. And a little later, they'll find out just what this really means and how valuable it is when they find out who I'm going to be defending it against in December. Now, about this goofball here, I don't really know why he became a wrestler. I think he just likes makeup and tights.
A little bit. Ever since I was a little kid, that's all I'd watch is wrestling. I used to tie a bunch of sheets around my bed and jump off the top of them onto my stuffed animals, pretending to do a frog splash. And ever since then, I knew I was destined to wrestle.
And that's the difference in a clown and a fighter, because I used to tie sheets around the neighborhood kids
Oh,
and
yeah.
jump off of my house onto them.
Hey, well, yeah, I got to admit, I started with a trampoline with my kids, you know. That was cool. And then when I got in the ring, of course.
The cool thing is, and you know, it takes somebody to actually come out and admit this, and some of us will, some of us won't. Everybody throughout, whether it's Tennessee or anywhere else, we all started the same way. If you're a wrestler, you obviously had to love wrestling. And you obviously had to have a passion for it, and it's something you did as a kid, and you just loved it so much you followed through with your dream. And the ones that admit that honestly have the true heart for it. At least that's my opinion.
Well, yeah, and you know, you did follow your dream, and I didn't, because when I got in the ring, it started hurting. I was like, hey, this isn't a trampoline anymore, you know, and these aren't kids. So I followed my passion of the video camera, so I've been on the videography end of it, and that'll lead us straight into you guys are also filmmakers there.
Yes.
I met you, I guess, on the when we went to shoot Cry for Blood.
Yeah, there
On
was
a scene up in Newport, Tennessee.
good little film there, brought to you by Sean Kane Films. Yeah, I was in it along with a couple other local guys from the Knoxville area, and actor Barry Radcliffe starred in it along with former WWE superstar Al Snow.
Oh yeah, Al
It's
was
actually
great.
released now and everything, so it did a really good job, and everybody had a great time doing it. And I mean, we couldn't ask for a better person on the set. Better than all of the guys, the top dog on that film set was Dave Jones.
Well, I was just trying. I appreciate that. I thank you a lot. And hey, that's available now. I think you can look it on Amazon, some different places.
Yeah,
and
you can check it out online, Google it up, all that good stuff.
Find out through YouTube and some other places there. It was a fun time. I know I had a lot of. Sean Kane was amazing. I didn't know what we were doing half the time. It was pow, pow, pow. Maybe he didn't know what he was doing either.
Definitely
but
a
we
high
were
fast thing. That's the
we
great
were-
thing about it. You know, we do something that no one else can do. We take a full length feature film that takes most people anywhere from 6 months to a year to shoot, and we combine it down into 4 or 5 days, and we just bam, get it done and get it out. Because that's the key to it, and that's the key to staying busy, is it's keeping it going.
Hey, I know it was an amazing time, and I appreciate you guys allowing me to come down there and meet guys like Al Snow and Barry Radcliffe, and you know, it was on and on. Some of those girls that worked on that were phenomenal, and I had a great time. And lo and behold, you went on to create your own film.
Yes,
written
yes.
written by you, directed by Sean Kane.
Yes,
and,
yes, it was a good time, and I'll get into that in a second. It's actually a funny story. I'll go into a little story here about
Okay.
how I got into acting, which is a priceless moment. I was up in Portland, Oregon, living between there and Vancouver, Washington, and I was in Starbucks, and I was trying to just, order my morning cappuccino and go to the gym. Everybody leave me alone. I hate life. It's too early. And there was this old man in front of me who was just taking his sweet time ordering his coffee and hitting on the little girl that was at the counter. And he had to be at least like 40 or 50 years older than her. And I got fed up, and me being the mouthy person I am, shared a few choice words with them, which wound up him paying for my coffee. We wound up going outside and sitting on one of the little benches. Made me really late for my workout, and he tells me right at the end, hey, you need to come by my house sometime up in Longview. We'll go down and we'll go down the river and everything on a canoe. And I'm like, dude, I don't even know who you are. He's like, well, I'm Jesse Vint. I have no clue who Jesse Vint is. So I went on and did my thing, and it just pondered in my head, so I pulled out my cell phone when I was in the gym, Googled Jesse Vint, and I realized, holy cow, this guy's a really famous actor. He's a part of the Academy Awards and everything. So, needless to say, I got up with him, got into acting, got to do a bunch of really cool things. I was on TNT's Leverage with Timothy Hutton. I done a couple movies where I got to be in them that starred Brendan Fraser. The story, though, is, it's what led me into meeting Sean Kane. And me and him hooked up, and we did the Ultimate Deathmatch films, which stars guys like Kid Cash, Shane Douglas, Kevin Nash, Al Snow, Dan Severn, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, Jimmy the Boogie Woogie Man. I mean, just the list goes on and on and on of people that appeared in the Ultimate Deathmatch films. But I obviously need to take the time and not leave out one guy, that being the living legend Larry Sabisco, who is in the Ultimate Deathmatch 3. Larry, we love you.
Love you, Larry.
But,
That's right. Yeah, we did have some technical difficulties there and edit over some. Sorry, I left the demo mode on and didn't realize, so it started working by itself there. I thought
this is the demo version of me talking, and now we're going to go into the real version. So I'm going to do my own little special effects for that to finish the story. And now we're in. And there we
well,
go.
you brought up the Ultimate Death Match, and that's where Cry for Blood, I guess, to get the full history out there. There were was Cry for Blood number 3 in that version, or there were 3 Ultimate Death Match in it?
There was 3 Ultimate Death Matches, then a little hiatus there, and Cry for Blood was the follow-up to the Deathmatch films, and it was basically that saga has came to its closure. What can Sean Kane produce next? And it came to Cry for Blood. We did the wrestling genre, and with the Ultimate Deathmatch created history with it. The Ultimate Deathmatch 2 was the biggest independent selling film of all time in the past 10 years. So when you beat a record like that, you kind of think, okay, time to move on to another one, and let's see if we can knock it out of the ballpark there. And I feel we did an amazing job with it, which leads us to where we're currently at now. We just got done filming the first indie wrestler a few months back, which starred myself, Sean directed, we had Lady Amazon in it, Ricky Morton, Tracy Smothers, Destro, and Larry Sabisco. And we filmed it up in North Carolina, and it has just turned into be this amazing hit. It's just now being reviewed. We're working on the final release date to say when that's going to be, and it's just got this big pop going from it that's just absolutely wonderful, and I truly can't be thankful enough for it. And we're just seeing what happens to it, and before we can even take that deep breath and be like, wow, we just got done. We're finished. Now we're in relaxed mode. We don't do that. We're already getting ready to do another one. Sean and I have a great thing when it comes to working together. We give people what they want to see in pro wrestling. It's not the same old material. It's not this same World Wrestling Entertainment television show that runs it dry. It's not TNA that's just swinging wildly and doing nothing but wearing their arms out and making you fall asleep. We give people what they want to see and things they never thought they would see before. And now we getting ready to do the Indie Wrestler 2. And like I said earlier, what that means is I'm going to defend this title, but we're also going to do a couple things that's never been done before, or at least that I know of, in the history of filmmaking. not just wrestling, but filmmaking. We are going to make a whole film for charity to the town of Rosman, North Carolina, for the rebuild their community center for the children and to be able to build wheelchair ramps into it and everything. And in this film, it is just, this whole town has just came together, and two guys up there that really deserve a lot of props for doing it so much too, and they were also in the first indie wrestler, is John Owens and Iceman Mike. These two guys have just done so much, and they're going to be a part of the second one. John's actually one of the main guys working with me and Sean on setting this whole thing up. Big John Owens, and he just deserves a lot of props for this. So they go by the Enforcers of Pain. They're going to be involved along with myself and, of course, Larry Sabisco. When he heard that we were doing it for charity, he jumped aboard, said it was the greatest idea he's ever heard. Amazon said the same. Stro came right in and said, I'll do it as well. And we're just building all this up. We have some new cast members coming in, like Angelia Lee and Natalie Nicole, two actresses that are both really well and really great with what they do, coming to be a part of it. And then right when we're all thinking, hey, we're in a good spot, me and Sean's feeling comfortable with it, we get a phone call from former WWE superstar, TNA star, ECW champion, and current mixed martial arts fighter, Bobby Lashley. And Lashley agreed and signed on to be a part of the Indie Wrestler 2. And we signed him a few days ago, and since then, we are now on over 200 websites with news all about it. And it's been on ESPN Radio, ESPN, and it's got picked up internationally to where they're talking about it through Japan and every other country there is. I mean, everybody's just all about this thing. It's super huge. And I think Sean said it best when he said, Bobby Lashley is like the Christmas miracle that the town of Rosman needed. And it shows just truly how great of a guy Bobby Lashley really is when he said, hey, I'll come in and I'll do it too to help the town. I'll appear in the film, I'll do the show. So for one night and one night only, Bobby Lashley will be returning to the ring. And that got people buzzing and thinking, how could it get any bigger? And then Stro stood up and took the notion to say, hey, I'm a former WCW superstar. I'm the current NWA Mid-South Heavyweight Champion. I'll face Bobby Lashley. And that's super huge. Those two guys have put on a clinic for sure, but we got to thinking, and then I got to thinking, and Stro, being Stro, decided he wanted to start talking and running around and using his mouth and not his brain, saying that he's the one that took the first shot at it. He's the one with all the guts, so he should get all the glory. But the difference between me and Stro is he's NWA Mid-South Heavyweight Champion. And that is an amazing company, but he won't put their belt on the line. And his excuse, it's not an NWA show. I respect that. So if Stro wanted to run his mouth like that, he wanted to start pointing fingers towards me, saying, what about the indie champion, the independent heavyweight champion? Yeah, what a great concept to come up with a movie. You win a title, and now you don't want to do nothing with it. Trying to, throw insults towards me that maybe I'm not a fighting champion. So on behalf of Stro running his mouth, I don't back down from no guy. Bobby's an amazing fighter. I'm definitely not going to say I could take him one-on-one because, Bobby Lashley knocked out Bob Sapp.
Yeah.
If I saw Bob Sapp walk in the door, I'd run the other way. But, Stro wanted to call it out, so now it's going to be a triple threat. It'll be Bobby Lashley versus the Stro versus TKO for my Indie Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship. Because I know why Stro did it. Stro has that champion. He's the champion of that company, and that's an amazing company with so much credibility. I can't say enough things about them that are good, but that's not good enough for Stro. Stro wants to be the best in the world. He wants to be something that doesn't represent a company. You represent a world. That's what this is. There's no company behind it. There's no gimmicks behind it. There's no money behind it. You don't get main events. You don't get paid for having this. You get respect and pride of saying, I'm the champion of the world when it comes to independent pro wrestling. And Stro wants that. And I'm sure Bobby Lashley does too. And that's why I've decided that I will put my title on the line. And I'm not just doing it for the respect in this title and to show people that this is real and it means something. I'm fighting that night on December 10th in Rosamond, North Carolina against Bobby Lashley. I'm fighting for the town of Rosamond, North Carolina. These guys are coming in and they're doing that, and Bobby's giving us the Christmas miracle, but then Stroh's doing his thing and trying to take away from me. Well, I would like to consider myself the local hometown hero. I call Knoxville, Tennessee my home. Whether I was born here or not, this is where I always come back to.
Right.
And Rosamond's right up the road. All communities need to stick together like in the old days, and that's what I plan on showing people. If you believe in it, it's worth fighting for. I believe in this title. I believe in the cause. I believe that people can truly be good because Lashley proved it. And when it comes to me and Bobby, we're going to have a nice competition, I know. And the better man will win. And 9 out of 10 people, well, actually 10 out of 10 people, in all honesty, is going to say Bobby's going to destroy you. But the one thing about it, it will go down where Bobby destroys me, it'll be in a fight. It'll be in a blaze of glory. When it comes to Stroh, I can't say it'll be a friendly competition.
Right.
I won't say it'll be a friendly competition because Stroh is the one that's wanting to make this a heckle,
Right.
an argument between the two. He's wanting to bring on his glory and forget about the cause. And maybe I'm not the guy to be able to shut Stroh up. We'll find out on December 10th, but the one great thing about it is if I'm not the guy to shut him up, I always got Lashley standing in the other corner, making it a triple dance for all three of us.
That's right. So
One man to
there you
walk
go.
away the champion, and I just got this thing, and as you can see, it looks pretty good on me, especially on camera. I don't plan on losing it.
I agree. And hey, you know, one thing I know, I've been around a lot of wrestling and called a lot of matches, and you never know till the bell rings at the end who's going to
Exactly.
be having their hand
I
held
mean, you
up.
just Stroh had his time. He was in WCW. It's not my fault he didn't win a world title there. So he's had his time, and it's good where he's at. Lashley, you can't talk enough. We don't literally have enough time to talk about how many great things that man's done with his
Yeah.
career. And the best part is, unlike the other competitor, we won't say his name so his feelings don't get hurt, he's still in the spotlight. I mean, the guy made national news in less than 12 hours after signing an agreement to do this. So obviously he's the true superstar. Me, I'm the one sitting back here with, I mean, really nothing to lose and everything to gain. So I've got more than enough to be fighting for. And I ain't going to be the pushover. It's time the young kid that everybody once thought was a punk proves he's not just a punk. He's a fighter and he's a contender. And that's a message for the December 10th match. And that's a message for any time anybody sees me anywhere and anybody that thinks, hey, we want to give a go around for this title. I ain't afraid to put it on the line between now and then and any time, anywhere, any place with anyone. I enjoy holding this, and there's pride behind it. And this business is called the wrestling business, which means you wrestle at any given opportunity brought to you.
Well, you know, I think this plays into, and this is kind of a real angle, as they call it in wrestling, and you've talked about this as sort of a reality show.
Yes.
And it fits in with the title perfectly. The independent wrestler.
Yes.
This is what the independent wrestler does.
The
in
indie
his
wrestler,
life.
people sometimes get confused because they see it and it comes out and it's a movie. Yes, it is a movie. We shoot it in a movie style, but the one thing about it, there's no script. There is no script. It is not a movie. It's real life. You follow these guys through their life and see what happens.
That's
And
right.
I mean, this is how we live. One night you're over here, the next night you're over here. You bleed, you get stitched up, you go to the next show.
That's
I
right.
mean, literally today I went for a physical for a checkup to the doctor. She asked me what I got coming up. I tell her the big fights I've got coming up. You fight? Yeah, I'm a pro wrestler, and I love what I do. She looks at me and she goes, "You're 25 years old. You broke your neck twice. You just recently had surgery on it. You have 4 cracks in your C4 vertebrae. The fractures are still there that seal the little crooked things. What are you going to do when you end up in a wheelchair?" I told her, well, when the day comes that I end up in a wheelchair I'll create wheelchair wrestling. Until then, I'm going to keep fighting. If my legs are able to move, I'm going to fight. If there's still a breath in my lungs, I'm going to fight. And that's the one thing I know Bobby never overlooks any of his people. Whether he has to fight world-round guys like Bob Sapp or lower card guys. That's why he beats Bob Sapp, and that's why he beats everybody else. He does his homework, and he takes it into consideration on everyone he fights. Stro, you should probably do the same thing and start realizing that you have a fight coming up. Not just against TKO, but against Bobby Lashley. And I'm not going to let this go that easy. And if Lashley's making his return for one night and one night only, as much as I hate to say it, and he's going to have to beat me to do it, it would be a pretty amazing feel if Bobby Lashley won a world title on his one return. Because, I mean, then where would my belt stand? That's what I have to think. If Lashley wins this and it's his one night only return, he leaves again. My championship leaves with no opportunity to win it back. That's a hard thing to grasp.
Absolutely.
Because everybody that gets into this business gets into it for many different reasons.
Like you
We
said,
love it.
That's
And
the reality of it, too.
everybody's in the wrestling business to get their big chance, their one big shot, and to become a champion. Well, I'm already a champion, and now I got my one big shot.
Well, good luck on that. And that, you know, I would find that strange as somebody that's dabbled in filmmaking and television. We always have a script, and we know what the ending is going to be, and this one's going to be a surprise to everybody that's on
There's
set.
only one guy that can set these things up and make it happen, and that's Sean Kane. And anybody that wants to know more about Sean Kane or Sean Kane Films, there's Facebook. You can look us up. You can go to imdb.com, type in Sean Kane, he'll pop right up. You
That's
type in
right.
Josh Turner, we'll pop right up. If you want to see real wrestling at its finest, and you want to see things that are going to entertain you, you're going to watch a Sean Kane film. You're going to watch him produce wrestling. Because, I mean, I've heard it on many different levels and scales, and I've seen it on every single wrestling news website. Everybody says TNA or World Wrestling Entertainment should hire Sean Kane to write their storylines. That way, at least, it would be halfway as interesting to watch. At least you wouldn't want to flip the channel.
On the indie wrestler, too.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Sean, we're right here actually filming the show with Dave Jones, and he asked me to give you a call. You interested in talking?
Sure, let's talk.
All right, Sean's on the phone.
Hey, Sean, how are you? It's Dave Jones here.
Hey, Dave, how are you doing, buddy?
Well, I'm fine there. We're doing a little piece here for community television in Knoxville, and this will be playing to a short audience, but it does go out on the World Wide Web there, ctvknox.org. So, but we thought we'd talk to you for just, we got about 5 minutes left on the show here. We were going to talk to you for a couple of minutes about some of the things that's going on. We've mentioned the films that you've done in the past, and now we're talking about the Indie Wrestler 2 that's coming up here in North Carolina.
Boy, now that's turning out to be a pretty big project, huh? ESPN Radio is already talking about Bobby signing the deal with us at the beginning of the week, and now we just released a huge press release talking about why we're in North Carolina. Has Josh told you, Dave, why we're going to be there?
Well, I'm understanding this is going to be a benefit the town of Rosman, and that'll be a great thing.
No, we have. We were very lucky to get Bobby Lashley. I don't know if you guys have been talking about that yet, but Bobby Lashley is going to come out and star in this film with us. And you know, like the press release says, I think Josh and I put it together pretty good when we said that it was really. Here's this guy not working for the WWE, not in TNA, not in the huge arena, showing up to a gym to fight. To fight Stro and Josh. And it's pretty amazing. This guy he's fighting for wheelchair ramps and for kids in a time in our country that really needs a hero. And Bobby Lashley has stepped up. And it's going to be a great project.
That's absolutely great, and I'm glad it's happening to you guys, and that for this place here in North Carolina, and for humanity all over the world. You know, some of the things.
Dave, I think it's very important that that there is heroes still out there. That there is people out there to say, you know what?
Amen.
I know I make this much, but you know what? I'm going to show up. You give me a plane ticket, kid, and I'm going to show up, and my name can help. You don't get that every day. You don't find those type of people. Matter of fact, we've had people who from the indie wrestler who has not wanted to go forward with us, and it was over money. And I'm not going to mention any names because
That's very
contractually
true.
I can't. But because if I could, Dave, I would blast those people. But
Yeah, I understand.
you know what? But then all of a sudden, Bobby Lashley shows it out of the blue, and now the people who were upset and maybe was a little hurt, they're even more hurt now because they don't get to go on with us. It's not about money. It's really about doing something really special for the kids. It's about helping this community out. Government isn't going to, and you know what's going to happen to those kids next year or this year? Actually, they're in school now.
Right.
That's highly true. And I mean, just like Sean said, that's the most amazing thing is you have a guy that honestly gets offered millions and millions of dollars practically every single day to do stuff, and he has to turn it down.
Right.
And this time he's not. And he's not getting offered millions of dollars. He's doing it for charity, to help kids. And this guy is a world-round superstar. And it makes you realize, just like Sean said, there is still heroes out there, because then you got other guys who aren't really even stars, and they're saying no because there's no money involved. And it shows the true concept that guys like Bobby Lashley are still there for children to look up to, like when we were kids.
Right.
And we had our guys to look up to. There's still heroes out there for kids to be able to look up to as role models.
Well, guys, we've only
You
got
know, football does a lot. Now, guys, football, baseball, soccer, everybody does so much work. But really, the wrestling community, the WWE and TNA, does very little charity work. You know?
Right. Well, that's we've only got about a minute left here, Sean. We're going to wrap up, but I wanted to say a personal thank you from the people in East Tennessee and this whole area here, because you're a filmmaker that deals with many different genres of filmmaking and the like, and we just appreciate the wrestling community, especially here in East Tennessee, appreciate that you're doing this kind of thing and helping promote wrestling, what we've all been trying to do here in East Tennessee for a long time, and we sure do appreciate that, Sean Kane.
Well, thank you very much, David. And really, a lot of credit goes to Josh Turn, the man sitting there with you. He wrote both of these. This was his brainchild. He made this work. So, big props go to him. And you know what, Dave? Big props go to you, too. Thank you very much.
Oh, well, thank you, Sean, and that's what we'll spend the last minute doing. Thank you, and we'll talk to you again sometime, Sean.
Thanks, Sean. I'll holler at you later, buddy.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Bye.
And that was Sean Kane of Sean Kane Films, and we got just maybe a minute or so left here.
Well,
so
I mean, the main
let's
thing
get
to
some
tell
wrap
people
up
now
here.
is that everybody's heard heroes do exist still. What we're doing is amazing. It's for children so they can have wheelchair ramps and everything. All I can really tell the people is I can't say come, I can't say don't come. It's their choice. But if you want to see Bobby Lashley versus Stro versus TKO for the Independent World Heavyweight Championship title, and you want to see yourself in a movie, you come out to Roswell, North Carolina on December 10th, and you help that cause. You'll not only see all of us, but you'll meet me, you'll see this title, you can take a picture with us both, or just the pretty one. And some people might say that's me, some people might say it's the title, and you can do the same with Bobby Lashley and everybody else. And I mean, it's just a thing that's made us all really happy. From people like this to people like this, we all say thank you.
Sir, TD.
Oh,
Josh?
you're going to shake his hand first?
I'm sorry. Just
See the ink pen?
going-
You just lost it.
Oh my! Well, I'm just going in order there, but hey, I do thank you guys.
No,
Thanks for
absolutely, Dave.
getting down with Dave Jones, and I'm going to put my email up
Love it
there,
to
and
death.
I'll get it to you